Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar brought to you by Trintech. My name is Kelly Shevlin and I'll be your host for today. The title of today's webinar is 5 Best Practices to Modernizing Your Month-End Close. Before we get started, there are a couple pieces of housekeeping I'd like to go over. Firstly, please note that the lines are on mute to cut down on any background noise. However, you can send through any questions or comments as we go along through the webinar today through the chat or Q&A functionalities on the right-hand side of your screen. For those of you looking for a CPE credit, please stay on the webinar for the full webinar session, but most importantly, answer the poll question that will be asked at the end of the webinar. In addition, we are recording today's webinar session, and we will send out an email after the event with a copy of the recording in case you'd like to view it again later. And with that, I'd like to introduce our speaker for today, David Woodall from Trintech, who will take us through today's presentation. David, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Kelly, and welcome to this session. So I'm David Woodall, and as an accountant with several years in various finance roles in a range of industries, I provide some advisory services both internally and externally based on that experience. My last role was in the R2R GPO team at GSK, where I helped design and deploy some best practices to help overcome some operational challenges. So let's get started. So at Trintech, we know there are several driving factors pushing you to explore financial transformation. Since the turn of the century, finance teams have had to manage significant changes. Introduction of SOX in 2002 to strengthen accounting rules after some serious financial scandals, then followed by the financial crisis in 2007-8 that severely impacted growth and ultimately led to a global recession. Then followed by uncertainty in the Eurozone with potential Brexit, followed by Brexit, and more recently the pandemic. And now the potential of another recession caused by the current geopolitical challenges in Europe, alongside those future challenges of increasing demands of future legislation, such as UK SOX and ESG, and the demands for the Office of Finance to provide accurately and timely data to help commercial decision making. Having experienced all of the above whilst in industry, certainly back in 2008, there was little we could do to mitigate the challenges caused by the recession. So we had to work with limited resources that ultimately impacted our ability to deliver an effective service to our internal commercial operations, with no options to help us manage that situation. However, we will hopefully show you today that technology has and continues to rapidly develop to help offset some of these challenges, and that with the right mindset and strategy, it become a way to effectively evolve your finance operations to a best-in-class status that will help you meet those internal demands, manage risks, as well as retaining and developing your finance teams that will help you accelerate growth as we move to economic growth. The role of the CFO has transformed from a tactical, number-crunching, budget-developing role into a strategic partner. Now the voice of the CFO is as important as the CEO, as both internal and external audiences look to this C-suite executive as a voice of guidance in times of economic uncertainty to lead the organization into the future. CFOs today have a whole new set of focus points and problems to overcome. Now is the time for finance leaders to lead into the evolution of their roles and reinsert themselves as strategic partners and digital enablers to the business. During today's discussion, we will explore the following topics: challenges and expectations faced by the Office of Finance, health checking your current financial close process, 5 best practices to modernize your month-end close, the ROI that you can achieve, and then the next steps to accelerate your automation adoption. So let's begin with some of the top challenges and expectations faced by today's CFOs. In times of crisis and insecurity, everyone, including internal staff, C-suite executives, investors, and other stakeholders, looks to the Office of the CFO for financial guidance and reassurance. This has never been more true as it has been over the last 2 years with the pandemic. The pandemic exposed outdated systems that weren't able to be adapted for changing needs. Unfortunately, for some companies, The pandemic also created a resource crisis with people and/or cash, which is unfortunately impacting very important decisions and investments that need to be made. As many of us know, historically the finance function has been an underappreciated area of the business, but it is now widely understood how critical this function is to the overall health of the organization. Today, CFOs are ready to push their businesses to be more competitive. They know they need to be in a different organization tomorrow than they are today. That means a broad-based approach and pulling on all levers with an intense focus on people, digital transformation, and real-time data. CFOs can expect the current war on talent to accelerate in the coming months. The reality is there has been a mass exit of the workforce, resulting not only in staffing shortages, but also directly diminishing the strength of companies' culture. In PwC's Pulse survey, nearly half of CFOs polled cited loss of corporate culture as the biggest challenge of hybrid work. In fact, it is a greater concern amongst those CFOs than it is across all executives. CFOs need to act fast to support finding the right talent, effectively onboarding new employees, and proactively investing in retaining those hires for their organizations to thrive in a hybrid work environment. CFOs have another worry around people, and that's turnover. 8 out of 9 executives say they're experiencing higher than normal turnover right now. So it's no surprise that 81% of CFOs are concerned that high turnover and labor shortages will impact the company's revenue growth. Why are people leaving? More than their peers, CFOs think it's for better wages, salaries, although CFOs may not want to make extensive changes to compensation structures because they don't think turnover will last. 45% are only somewhat concerned about turnover and say it will return to a normal rate soon. CFOs are concerned that growth will be limited if they can't find a solution to the labour shortage issue. According to Trintech's 2022 Financial Close Benchmark Survey, when asked what is the biggest risk to your business over the next 12 months, 74% talent acquisition and retention. Interesting to see that remote hybrid has become less of a risk year on year. Lack of standardized data and processes is a close second. Data has always been a challenge, but we expect this to continue to be a focus. With the pandemic and current geopolitical situation, there has been a significant impact on the supply chain with resource challenges. Speed and accuracy of data is key to help drive a real-time forecasting model. However, we often see that organizations do not have the strong foundations in their finance operations to help achieve this goal. All of these options are key reasons why companies are looking to invest in the financial close automation. Financial compliance is always on the CFO's radar, whether they lead a publicly traded or privately owned corporation. Spreadsheets are one of the most commonly used tools in the finance reporting process, are not the most reliable because they are prone to human error. In fact, according to a study, up to 90% of all spreadsheets contain errors. And because of this, spreadsheets have been the root cause of many of the most infamous, impactful accounting errors. The continued reliance on spreadsheets not only presents risk to the future of the organization, but also jeopardizes a CFO's own reputation. However, if you're not uncertain about the integrity of your financial data, you're not alone. In a survey of global financial leaders, 40% admitted they didn't trust the accuracy of their financial data. In that same survey, 69% of respondents said they relied on spreadsheets to plaster over gaps in their reporting process. Gaps that were most likely created from the usage of spreadsheets in the first place. Understandably, every CFO wants absolute certainty their numbers are accurate before presenting their reporting to their boards, other stakeholders, and governing bodies.